Hey, this is the Sounds on Vinyl show, the only show on the planet, in the universe, in parallel dimensions that will make your fucking ears bleed. My name is Phil Boyer, as always. Still have not changed my name after all these episodes. It's still the same. And with me, as always, see, nothing changes. My brother from another mother, Professor Rockstar Extraordinaire, lead singer of bands past, present, future, and parallel dimensions. Like I said, we're all over the place. Mr. Mike Svensson. Mike, how the hell are things in the record store, the official Sounds on Vinyl record store?
Oh, it's good, man. So many cool people come around and say hi and grab a coffee and talk about music, and that's what it's all about, man. It's down there at Krusegatan 23 in Malmo, Sweden, and it's so much joy to see people discovering music with one another, because there's great conversation every time I'm in the store that grabs a hold of you. It's a concert memory. It's a piece of music history. It's some people born in the early 50s, some people born in the early 2000s, people from all over, man, and they get together and talk about music and discover new music. um and it's such a beauty to watch people come alive through vinyl records or music or memories and share with one another. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so freaking lucky to be able to do this.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot of fun. It's a
It
lot of
is, it
fun.
is, it is.
Yeah. Now, do you guys also share your hatred for Illinois Nazis?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to, right?
Oh,
Nobody likes Illinois
definitely.
Nazis.
No, 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 no.
No, no, no. And that's going to mean something, because today we kind of have a surprise for you guys, because we're going to talk about a record, a band really that you're probably going to be surprised to
Oh
hear
yeah.
about on the show. But this particular album, which is a soundtrack to a movie, means a lot to Mike and I. This goes back a few years. Um, and Mike, why don't you tell everybody what that record is?
It is the Blues Brothers soundtrack.
Here we go.
It's Epic is, I don't know if it covers it, but it's I don't know. I don't know. It's everything. It's sometimes the air that I breathe. I shit you not, because the stuff that I learned about music through this movie is it's beyond my expectations. I still today discovered music through these guys or this
Wow.
movie and all the great musicians that are in this movie, should I say. So
Yeah, and really, yes, we're talking about blues, the Blues Brothers. It's not
oh yeah.
hard rock, it's not metal,
No,
but
no, no.
all
Yes.
the stuff that we've talked about on the show in the past all has roots right here.
Oh yeah.
And I actually got into hard rock and metal after the Blues Brothers. So you could
Hmm.
say it was sort of a catalyst as well. This was one of my favorite movies growing up. I lived right down the street from where some of the shots were filmed. I lived in the suburb of Chicago for many, many years. And we'll get into some of that. But this movie, which really it's both a movie and a soundtrack, and them together really gives it the power, gives the
Oh yeah.
soundtrack the power, and the music the power, because we can see these performances. We can see, we'll get into the Cab Calloway, and in that scene. I want to talk about that a little bit in the show. It's so fucking epic. And So when we're talking about the movie, I want to start with a few fun facts about the movie, because some of these, even though it was such an important movie for me, I didn't know a lot of these. So the first draft of the movie, written by Dan Aykroyd, was actually 324 pages long.
Damn.
He submits that, and the studio's like, yeah, that's a little too long. And for those that aren't aware, they're usually like a third of that tops, like a quarter of that. They're 25, 50 pages. They're nothing like 300 pages. That's a lot of and that movie's long as it is. So this thing would have been like the Lord of the Rings trilogy on steroids. Okay, the mall chase was filmed in a real mall in Harvey, Illinois. It was closed down, and it was shut down in 1979 and torn down in 2013. So it sat empty for quite a while.
Oh, man.
But this mall was right next door to the town that I lived in. In fact, I was born in Harvey, Illinois.
Oh,
so that's like so this movie has a connection for me because it was like right there. That mall was right there next to me. And so that was pretty cool to hear about that growing up.
You remember being in that mall?
No, I don't actually. I probably was at some point, but Harvey was not when I was growing up, Harvey was not a town that we went to a lot. In fact, it's odd. I lived in a very small town called Thornton, and we didn't really venture outside of Thornton that often. There was a town next door called South Holland that we went to, but we didn't venture outside our town that much. Don't ask me why, but we didn't. It was weird. The movie has two connections to Star Wars. Do you know what they are?
Oh, no.
One's pretty obvious.
No, I'll give what?
Well, Carrie Fisher.
Oh, Christ. Oh, oh my God.
Yes. But the other is a little more, it's easy to miss. Frank Oz, who was a puppeteer and the voice for Yoda.
Oh.
Okay. Also part of the Muppets and stuff, right?
Oh my God. He's the guard.
He's the guard in the beginning.
Yeah.
See? So, and the movie actually raised money for Chicago orphanages. They raised $200,000 for orphans. So the movie had a little bit of ring of truth to it. They actually did raise money. So that was pretty cool.
They were a mission from God.
They were. That's right. And we'll get to God in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will. At the time, the movie set the record for the most crashed cars. They demolished the most cars. And that was, you want to take a guess on how many cars they crashed in that movie?
276.
No. It was only 104. But it seemed like 276.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember there's a scene with John Candy, and I fucking love John Candy. And where they go over and they end up in the trailer of the semi truck.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, this is car. What car are we? We're in a truck.
We're in a truck. And the other part that I went, wait, orange whip.
Yeah.
4 ounce whips. Right over here.
Oh
my God. We could quote that movie.
I know. This is gonna be a long show because we're just gonna throw quotes in here. Joe Walsh from the Eagles was actually in the movie. He was the dude that starts the prison riot at the end of the movie. He's the guy that starts that. And apparently him and Belushi became friends. And he's like, yeah, here, we'll stick you in here as a cameo and you can start a fight and stuff. So that was Joe Walsh. I didn't even recognize him. I didn't realize it.
Oh, me neither.
So the restaurant that they were in towards the beginning of the movie, when they were trying to recruit some of the other guys.
Yeah.
It's called Chez Paul.
Yeah.
It's actually a real restaurant.
Oh.
And it's the same restaurant that was in Ferris Beulers Day Off.
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
damn.
So,
I love
yeah.
that movie.
Yeah, that's a
Good.
great movie too. Okay, now let's talk about God. Let's find Jesus right now. Why don't we?
Oh yeah.
The Pope actually stopped by the set and blessed
Oh
the set and said it should be on the recommended list of movies to watch for all Catholics.
no.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God! How cool is that?
Yeah, because basically the whole premise is them raising money for orphanages to save the orphanages. So that's like the most Christian
Yeah, of
thing you can possibly
course.
do, besides in the United States carry guns and
Oh
everything
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's interesting. Like, they actually, and apparently like all the Catholics on the set were just like, holy shit, the Pope is here. Oh my
Damn.
God. Like, what's going on? Can you
Yeah.
imagine? It's kind of crazy. So yeah, those are some fun facts about the movie that maybe you
Mhm.
didn't know. And there's
I,
others, but I didn't
yeah.
want this to
I
get
got
too
a
long.
fun fact though.
Ooh,
Speaking of us doing a blues thing, John Belushi was actually a metalhead.
yes, was he? That
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
I
Okay.
I I think it was, who was it? What is Dan Aykroyd or somebody else? But I think it was Dan. He was into metal music. He used to go around with this big headphones connected to a stereo and just go nuts playing air guitar. He was a real metalhead, and people couldn't figure out, why are you doing this movie when you're a metalhead, and well, I don't know. There's no answer to that story, but Dan Aykroyd said he was a metalhead, a real metalhead. So
Well, that's awesome.
yeah, it is.
See, there you
So
go.
yeah,
See, so it makes sense. We're talking
everything
about
is
this movie.
intertwined.
It is, man. Everything is connected.
Oh
Everything is connected. We're going
yeah.
to get philosophical here on the Sons on
Yes.
Vinyl show. All right, let's get into some music. All right, this is a music show after all. Let's talk about the songs that were in the movie but did not make the soundtrack for some stupid reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites from
Yes.
the movie, Boom Boom Boom, John Lee Hooker.
Oh, good Lord. Don't get
When
me
I first
started.
heard that, I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is just, I love that song.
Oh, man.
It's so, in a way, it's heavy.
It's nuts. I have a story here. I think I've told this before. I can't remember because I don't listen to our shows. So who cares? I remember being in the midst of like Maiden, Judas Priest, Kiss. I've just discovered. I mean, we were. I can't remember when this movie came to Sweden, but we were last on the ball, if you know what I mean. So I remember watching this movie at my neighbor's house, and the scene comes up with the Soul Cafe, and you see there's this black dude in front of this cafe, and they're selling used tapes and whatnot in the street and flipping burgers and so forth. And all of a sudden you hear a boom, 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 boom. I'm going to shoot you right down. And I'm thinking, what the hell? And I'm watching my friend go, so haven't you seen this movie? And I go, no. Oh, this is heavy stuff, man. You should listen. And he cranked the TV. And I'm sitting there thinking, this must be one of the heaviest parts I've ever witnessed in my life, because it was I later discovered it was cut very short for the European market, because I have the extended version on Blu-ray. I think both on DVD and Blu-ray, and I just watched it like a month ago, and that part is much longer than I imagined it to be. So, and I checked it out, and yes, it was shortened down for the European market. But I remember that scene thinking that, Oh my God. Because I've never experienced music like that. And I remember I got a tape from my friend, and I'm sitting in my room in with all my metal posters on the walls, and I'm sitting there in front of the TV, and I had a small boombox that you could record on cassette tape, and I was sitting there in front of the TV and just waiting for that moment, and I pressed record, and I did that take over and over again because I had a cough that day. I don't know why, because you can hear me going a boom, 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 and in the background go. So I had to redo that take. But that's how important that piece was for me. I had to have it on tape and listened in my Walkman as I walked around because I didn't know how to get a hold of that music.
Mhm.
I just had the VHS cassette tape and watched that movie over and over again.
Yeah.
It was nuts.
Yeah, I did the same thing to be to be
Yeah,
honest, which is weird. We're
yeah,
two different continents, and
yeah.
yeah, I did the same thing. You know, record right off the TV there, and it sounded like shit, but I didn't give a shit. I
No,
could care
no, no,
less.
no.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was.
it was.
Um,
Um, yeah, "Stand by Your Man" cover.
oh man,
That
stand
that
by
was funny.
your man. Oh, it was.
I mean, they're doing their country song behind the chicken
Chicken
wire.
wire.
What kind of music do you have here? Oh, we have both kinds, country and western.
Oh man. Oh
And then
man.
they do the theme from Rawhide,
Oh.
which did make it to the soundtrack. Yeah,
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
rolling.
Oh my
That's
God. It
some
was
of
so
the best goddamn music we've had here.
yeah. Oh my God. It was
and,
so
and
great.
and then they're like, yeah, you guys drink a lot of beer. And we're like, oh well, we thought the beer was complimentary because
Yeah. And it goes, oh,
no, they
no,
drank
no,
like
no, no.
$1,500 worth of beer or
Yeah.
whatever. And,
Jesus.
oh my god, that was so funny.
It was.
I Can't Turn You Loose was the other song that did
Oh,
not make it to the soundtrack.
yeah. I'm watching the soundtrack. Oh, yeah. You're
Yeah.
right. Fucking hell.
So there you go.
That was a great song.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the songs that did not make the soundtrack for whatever reason.
Oh.
Now, you being the vinyl nerd, like before
Mhm.
we started recording, you're showing me all these Blues Brothers records you
Yeah.
have, and we'll
Yeah.
go through that. Are
Mhm.
any of these songs on any of those records that you have?
Oh, let me check. Let me check. I got a bunch. I got a bunch of
Yeah.
them.
I
This
think
one,
you got all of them.
oh, I think so. This is called Briefcase Full of Blues. Where the fuck is my camera? Here it is. It looks like this. Looks like this.
There you go.
And we got Hey Bartender, Messing with the Kid, Almost, Rubber Biscuit, Shotgun Blues, Groove Me. I can sing all of these as I'm going through them in my head. Soul Man, no, Flip Flop and Fly. Nope.
Nope.
No. And the other one is called it is the Best of the Blues Brothers.
Best
I don't
of
know
the
where
Blues
the fuck
Brothers.
I got
You're
a
good.
I got a new camera, so I don't know where the hell I am.
Oh, that's why you look more beautiful than normal.
Oh,
See, there we
stop
go.
it.
See? Okay.
Stop it. You shouldn't have. No.
No. Oh, we need a bootleg, man.
Yeah.
We need a bootleg for these.
Oh, the last one. The last one.
Ooh,
Made in America. Looks like this.
All right.
Let me see. No. Who's Making Love? Soulfinger, Guilty. No. Riot in Cell Blanc number 9. Green Onions. No. From the Bottom going back to no. It's not here.
Well, interesting.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, we need a bootleg. If anybody out there that's listening or watching knows where we can find a bootleg of those songs, let me know.
Yes.
Let us know, man.
Right now.
Right now. All right.
So should we talk about the music that is on?
Yes.
We should.
I think so, man.
I think so too. The opening scene, She Got the Katie, man.
Fucking
What's your
amazing
take?
song. I love
It
that
is.
song.
She got the Katie. Listen out there. I'm gonna sing. I don't care what you think, because I'm gonna sing, because it's fucking in my head right now. I can't just talk about this. I mean, this title from the songs. I have to sing. She got the Katie. Let me a mule
to ride.
ride.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man.
it just got so much groove, man. It just
Yeah.
like it takes you places. And I don't know,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
it's the movie that helps you take, go to these places, but I don't know, man. The music is just
But but listen, stop for a minute, because I don't know if people haven't seen this movie, which I think is a shame. So why the hell listen to this episode? Go and see the movie for crying out loud, and get back and listen to this show, and then you know what we're talking about. But let me give you an idea about people, musicians, singers in this movie. We should talk about we're going to talk about them, so don't worry. But why Phil and I are so invested in this movie? We got James Brown, we got Cab Calloway, we got Ray Charles, we got Aretha Franklin, we got, I mean, the Booker T and the MG's guy. I mean, Donald Duck Dunn and Steve Cropper from Booker T and the MGs. I mean, we got like Blue Lou Marini, Tom Malone. We got like who else is on? Willie Hall on drums, Matt Murphy on guitar, and
Murph and the Magic Tones.
Murph and the Magic
Don't you go
Tones.
changing.
Don't you go changing. I mean, people, I know that I've been talking to some people that didn't get that these are actual musicians in real life, who's been playing their asses off for their whole life, doing epic albums. So no, I don't think that it's just because it is in our heads. I mean, listen to all the musicians that are on this in this movie and on this soundtrack. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you can't help but see the talent.
Oh yeah.
Of this band, that this group of musicians and what they're able to put together, and it's yeah. I mean, She Caught the Katie is just proof that it opens strong, and
Yeah.
it only gets better from there, if that's even possible. But then we move on to the Peter Gunn theme.
Oh yeah.
I can't help.
Sorry.
I can't help but think of the Blues Brothers every time I hear that song, whether it's them doing it or not. It's just,
oh yeah,
yeah.
It's forever engraved in my DNA, in my head. I don't know. There is, every time I play this album, every time I listen to songs that they've did. I mean, both John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd are actual artists themselves, not just actors. I mean, John Belushi, he could sing, man, and Dan Aykroyd, he could blow a mean harp. It was crazy. Even the musicians in this movie said, "Oh man, those guys, they got talent." So it was not just them backing up two actors.
Right.
They were backing up like two artists, two musicians.
Yeah.
So it was a joint thing. It wasn't separated. Everything was meant to be. And that's why they went on tour with the Blues Brothers show and performed for people. And that's why you got all these albums, so you can listen to more songs. Because, I mean, they were in there. Jesus.
Yeah. Another one of my all-time favorites, Give Me Some Lovin'.
Oh,
I mean, every time I hear that, it's like, okay, I stop everything and yeah, it's just the classic. And
It is.
I feel like I remember first hearing the version that was more like what we'd call classic rock now,
Mhm.
and not this particular version. But when I heard this one, I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is this just yeah, this is the way it ought to be.
Yeah. Um, I mean, the Spencer Davis group who did the version. Have you heard the version that
Yeah,
they?
yeah, that's the
Yeah, yeah,
version. Yeah,
yeah. It's. I mean, it's so epic. But I mean, I think that the Blues Brothers band, they took it up a notch.
hmm
I mean, they did so much credit to your original songs, because it's all of them are cover songs, of course. They didn't write any music themselves, but
right.
they do them so much justice, if you know what I mean, to the original song and the original idea but changed it a little bit so it was more fresh. I mean, there's music that came out in like the 40s and the 50s and whatnot, and they took it into the 80s and did a thing about. I mean, do it. It was more fresh at the time.
hmm Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so I think that was really cool, paying homage to the songwriters of the songs, man.
Yeah,
It's
just awesome.
it is.
Yeah. Now we're getting to a song by a guy that I never really used to like.
Okay.
Um, and that would be Ray Charles. Shake Your
Oh,
Tail Feather.
yeah.
Now, I didn't really at the time care for this song all that much. I love it now. I absolutely love the song now. And I am a fan of Ray Charles. And oddly enough, there was a song that got me into Ray Charles that was in a different movie with one of the main characters was in the Blues Brothers, and that was John Candy, and it was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh.
And I'm drawing a blank on the song right now that was in that, but
Oh.
oh fuck, I can't think of it. But that song, I'm like, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked it up, and it was Ray Charles. I'm like, okay. And then I gave Ray Charles a second chance,
Yeah.
and there we go. There we go.
It was the same here. I was hooked. I mean, to see. I mean, they went into that music store in the movie, and he was. Uh, there's nothing wrong with this piano, and he sits down and go. What the hell you been dancing with all around the neighborhood? I mean, that was it. I was thinking to myself, holy crap, another one? First John Lee Hooker and then now Ray Charles. What the
Yeah.
hell is going on? And
Yeah.
I can't remember in the chronological order where Aretha Franklin, but it was like too much to bear. Fucking hell, Ray
Yeah.
Charles, Aretha Franklin, John Lee Hooker. I mean, come on,
Yeah. Yeah.
jeez.
And I want to point out, I don't want to think of it as this, but this movie is pretty much a musical in a
It
way.
is. It is.
Because we're talking about that scene, and outside the store, you've got everybody dancing and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I fucking hate musicals almost as much as I hate
Oh.
the Black Album.
Oh.
And this movie
Oh.
is the
You're in
exception.
for a surprise now. You're in for a surprise.
Uh-oh.
Wait, yeah, I love musicals.
Do you? Okay.
Yes, but I have to be in a theater to look at them.
Okay.
I cannot watch them on TV. That's oh man that no. Hearing the dialogue, I mean, the Blues Brothers they have a real dialogue. But
Mhm.
if you watch a musical on TV or a movie when they're done, now come on. But I
Yeah.
love to drop and go to a real theater and watch Phantom of the Opera and whatnot, because that is the performance. It's like, for me, it's like watching Kiss, watching Alice Cooper, watching David Bowie dress up. I mean, it's a spectacle. It's a thing. But
So
I,
Phantom of the Opera, does it have to be Michael Crawford singing, or
no,
no?
no,
It just doesn't matter. It's just about the
no.
performance.
It's about the
See, my
performance.
wife's a big Phantom fan, but she's like, it's got
Yeah.
to be Michael Crawford. I think that's his name.
Oh,
I think
okay.
that's his name.
I
but
don't know.
Not my
I've
thing.
seen
So
No, I've seen Phantom Opera 2 times in London, actually. And one of those times, it was a Swedish musical artist who did a part, which we thought was really, really cool. So we went to London just for that, just to watch him do the show. And do you know that Paul Stanley has done the Phantom of the Opera in Canada, in Toronto?
I think that rings a bell. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, there
So
you
you
go.
see, okay,
There,
I didn't mean to scare you.
there you go. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Getting back to the
You
blues
took
part.
it. You took it pretty cool. I mean, compared to the Black Album story,
I
man.
mean, again, I think I don't know. I don't know which is worse, Black Album or freaking musicals. But hey, somebody's got to enjoy those, right? I mean,
yeah,
it can't all be metal all the time.
No.
Everybody Needs Somebody to Love.
Yeah.
Is number 5.
Yeah.
And it is true, isn't it? We all
It
need
is.
somebody
It
to
is.
love.
Yeah. It's a great song. I mean, there's not a bad song on this album.
No.
Or in this movie. It's
The
nuts.
Old Landmark, which comes up next. Not a big fan. It's a little too much soul for me.
Yeah.
You know, James Brown is another one. I never really got into James Brown that much.
No.
I've tried, but it's a little,
For me, it's the essence of who he was. Not that I listened to James Brown's music, but what he contributed to music in this world. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, it's James Brown, for crying out loud. I mean,
fucking
come
James
on.
Brown.
It's freaking James Brown, man. So it's more of the essence of the dude than his music, because I didn't get into his music that much either. John Lee Hooker I did, Aretha Franklin all the way, Ray Charles to some extent, but James Brown not so much. But it's freaking James Brown. Come on. Jesus.
Freaking James Brown.
It is.
Well, next up on the list, which you just mentioned, Aretha Franklin, the Queen. The pipes on this woman are just incredible. I mean,
my God.
It's, they call this like Mariah Carey and all these semi-current pop artists, oh yeah, they're the queen and no, man. Have you fucking heard Aretha Franklin?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, even older, the woman's voice, she's like Dio, man. She's like the female version of Dio. Her voice never wavered. It never got bad. It was just like, holy shit. And this scene particular, when they walk in, there's a couple of honkies out here. One of them wants 2 fried chickens and a Coke.
No, 4 fried chickens.
Oh, 4 fried chickens and a Coke.
4 fried chickens and a Coke.
And the other one wants toast. White bread, no butter. Chicken Elwood.
Chicken Elwood. Oh, man. Fool, they owe you money. I mean, I remember the scene. First, it was John Lee Hooker outside the Soul Cafe, and then walking into the Soul Cafe, which is the place where Aretha works. No, she owns the place. She owns the Soul Cafe. Yeah, she's the owner. And first, you get knocked in your teeth with John Lee Hooker's Boom Boom, and then you get Think by Aretha Franklin. I mean, come on, it's game over from there. Where should I go? Where's the exit? For crying out loud.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, great. And again, musical, everybody's dancing, having a good
Yeah.
time, you know.
Yeah.
We already talked about this one, the theme from Rawhide,
Oh yeah.
the big when they ended up getting booked at the country and
Yeah.
western place.
Getting booked and where's the venue? It's coming up. I booked the place, and they're driving around in the car.
We're we're,
It's
we're the
we're
good old
here.
boys blues
Yeah.
band.
Bob's Country Bunker. Really? Oh man!
fucking
And they
hell.
walk in, and you see all the net in front of the stage, and chicken wire, and people are throwing the bottles. Woo! Play that, man! Jesus Christ! That was.
And now I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we get to the best song, best performance on the entire soundtrack. And that's, of course, Cab Calloway with Minnie the Moocher. Minnie the
Oh.
Moocher is one of my all-time favorite blues songs. Every time you hear Cab Calloway sing that song, it's a bit different. And I love it. And I love how it's designed to get the crowd engaged.
Yeah.
And it's just
sings a song about Minnie the Moocher. He was a low down hoochie coocher. Cab, man.
Hidey, hidey, hidey,
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh,
And how they switch from him into this big old production.
Yeah.
You know, and how they did that. And it was just like, oh my God, it was
He's
magical.
standing there and he's in his black suit, a black hat and whatnot, and all of a sudden he wears this long coat tail and everything is white and oh my God, it was so epic. It was a smooth transition into that scene, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
just beautiful, just awesome. I mean, it brings tears to your eyes. It's just so awesome, seriously.
Yeah.
And that really got me into Cab Calloway and going back and listening to that and learning, hey, there's the B-side to Minnie the Moocher was Kicking the Gong Around, which continues the story of Minnie the Moocher.
Yeah.
And you know, the dude was a phenomenal talent and a phenomenal performer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, you talk about a performer, Jesus, this guy was it, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
I read somewhere that both John and Dan were in awe of Cab because he came with so much knowledge into this movie with music and whatnot, and it was really forthcoming with teaching them stuff and so forth. So, and I can really imagine that happening, which I think is great. And it was such a. I mean, I've watched that movie over and over again. I shit you not, I've watched that movie at least 100 times. At least 100 times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. And you can almost see them paying homage to Cab Calloway in the movie with that scene.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, 1980 to 1982, 3, before the movie spread all around the world, people didn't have that much of an idea who Cab Calloway was back then. I mean, the greatness that he was. I didn't know. I
mean, he's from like the 20s and 30s.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from back in the day when music was completely different and it was a different time. And for him to come up into the 80s and sing this song that he sang so many times, you know, in the past years was really, really awesome. And I'm glad they picked that song because I think that really fits him very well.
Oh yeah.
Though some would argue it's the Calloway Boogie, but I don't know.
I really dig. I mean, Minnie the Moocher, man. Jesus, that's
awesome.
A great one. It is.
This next one, this takes me back. Obviously, Sweet Home Chicago. Every time I hear this, I want to go back to Chicago. Chicago is a great city. It is a great city, and you know,
I remember you and I talking about this some years ago, because I learned so much. I mean, that's the thing with me growing up in Sweden. I mean, we didn't have like, I mean, the internet wasn't around. I mean, you and I both grew up in the early 80s. You were in a country where you could actually go to the cinema and watch like whatever you wanted. That was not the case in Sweden. So I remember when we got a VHS player in my house, and you all of the movies in the world what at the front of your feet, and you can watch everything. And I remember watching the Beverly Hills Cop. I watched a lot of horror movies, the Jaws and whatnot. But then of course the Blues Brothers, and I learned stuff. I mean, all of a sudden, you said to me, "Well, I'm originally from Chicago." Oh, Richard Daley Plaza, and you go, "What? What do you mean, Richard Daley Plaza?" Yeah, and 1060 West Addison. What the hell are you talking about? And I knew all these places from the movie in Chicago.
Yeah.
And you told me, well, Richard Taylor Plaza, you've been there, of course, since you're from Chicago.
Yeah.
But I mean, 1060 West Addison, that's Regal Field, home of the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah.
And that was so much fun to learn about. I mean, all the stuff that goes around, and I learned stuff from cities like New York in other movies and whatnot, places that I didn't know at the time when I was like 11, 12 that those were real places. So growing up, I mean, I looked into that, and it was so much fun. So,
Yeah, that is the fun of movies and books and stuff when they take
yeah,
place where you live, and you're like, "Oh, that's cool," because you can almost put yourself in that story. And for me, living so close to Chicago, I could put myself in this
yeah,
movie, and that's
yeah,
kind of why it means so much to me. And there's an author, Dean Koontz. He does horror stuff, and he's from Orange County, California, which I lived before I moved to Idaho. And all his stories were written in Orange County. And you read these books, and you know exactly where this is. He talked about roads that were right there. And it's funny. We got to my wife, actually, she's a huge fan before I was, and she got to meet him. He was doing a book signing. She got to meet him, and it was pretty cool to read these books and go, "Holy fuck, I know where that is."
yeah,
And obviously being in LA, living in California, you see the movies and it's like, okay, yeah, everybody
yeah,
knows where that is. It's not as special, you know, in LA, but this being in Orange County and like in our neighborhood, in our
yeah.
backyard, basically was kind of special. And
Oh, you
that's what the
should be
Blues
so lucky. Me
Yeah.
growing up in Sweden in the 80s, what do we have? Nothing, for crying out loud. You can watch a movie with Malmo or
You you
shit
you
like that.
had one of the top shelf chefs in the world.
Oh, I forgot.
Come
I'm
on.
sorry. Yeah. He was making dinner for all of us at the same time. Fruity, fruity, booty, biscuit,
See?
booty, biscuit,
You also had
something like.
ABBA too. Come
Oh
on.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
world does not have ABBA. You guys have ABBA.
Yeah. But I'm thinking about movies related to the places. So
Uh,
you're just trying to make me feel good.
I am. I
Yeah.
am.
But
All right.
listen, that's cool, man. I mean all the stuff. And and I remember let's take some parts of the movie because I before we take the last song, we mentioned Illinois Nazis, but talking about Chicago. I mean that scene, it was a statement. I didn't know it at the time, but that was a statement for like a world statement. Them sitting
Mhm.
in a rundown police car and and there's protests on that little bridge, and the police comes up and they say, "Hey, what's going on?" Ah, those fucking Nazi bums, they won the election or something like
Yeah,
that.
they won their court case and they get
Victoria
to
case. Yeah.
protest and yeah.
What? That fucking Nazi party. And Jake goes, Illinois Nazis. I fucking hate Illinois Nazis. And Elwood steps on the plate. I mean, it kicks in gear, and oh my god, it was so much fun to watch that scene.
And then to see the Nazis die in the famous so they actually had to get, I think it was the FAA's permission, because they dropped that car from like 2,000 feet up. They got a helicopter and they dropped the car
Oh
from
my
2,000
god.
feet. So that wasn't like an effect or anything. They actually dropped the fucking car from the air. I've always loved you.
I've also loved you. My god. Gruppenführer. Jesus Christ.
Oh god.
My
So
god.
that was awesome. Just what a way to kill off the Nazis.
Yeah. And it was so much fun to watching those scenes with, I mean, did you think that it was a big statement for that movie, that scene, or was it something that you didn't think about?
Well, you're getting into a can of worms and controversial. You asked me if I was ever at the mall that this was recorded in.
Yeah.
The reason we weren't is because Harvey was primarily a black neighborhood.
Oh.
And the town I lived in was all white.
Oh.
And we didn't let black people into our town. We were a very racist town.
Oh.
And I feel that was pretty much the sentiment for that area of Illinois. And I could be still, I know Southern Illinois, they're,
So that was a real statement.
I think it was a statement.
Yeah.
I don't know what the intention was behind it, but I do think it was.
Oh.
And I'm lucky I was able to see the light and realize black people are not evil. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not, they're not going to come up and kill me just because they're black. I was able to get out of that mentality. A lot of my family still thinks that way. And I don't have anything to do with them really anymore. So I do think it was a statement against racism and against, that whole white is right kind of bullshit. And so I didn't want to get into it. I was trying to be diplomatic earlier.
Yeah.
I think it's important to, not everybody in Chicago is racist. And there is, people like me that, grew up in that, but were able to see the light and get out and not,
Well, I think it's important to address things like this because I mean it's all around us. I mean, I love watching that. I think it was on MTV when you go through those. I mean, you're being scanned in do a body scan. You're in what the fuck is it called in. We're in the doctors or
the CAT scan.
The CAT scan, yeah. And you can't see the person behind, and it's a black person, it's an Asian person, it's a white person, because the skeletons are almost identical. You can't figure out who's black and who's white and whatnot. So, and it's important to talk about it. It's important because I grew up in similar conditions. In a small town in the southern parts of Sweden. I haven't seen an immigrant. We didn't have black people in Sweden at all when I was growing up. So, but the first time I met a person from another country was when I was in 6th grade. I was like 13 years old. That was the first time that I spoke to a person from another country. Didn't grow up with racism per se, but there was only white people around. Mm-hmm. And I always thought I was strange. And I I became friends with this guy from former Yugoslavia. He was from Macedonia, and we talked about this, and it was, and then all of a sudden in the late 80s, you were supposed to hate people. It was a thing here in Sweden where skinheads became a real thing, and whatnot, neo-Nazis and so forth. And I never understood that. I was riding along because I didn't know. I couldn't think. I was like 13, 14 years old. So I didn't know what to do. So I just rode along and came up to the age of like 15, and I said, fuck this. This is not right. What's going on here? Why should I dislike people that are from another country when I myself go to another country for a vacation? What the fuck is up with that?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, I had a lot of female relatives that would go and tan themselves to get as dark as they possibly could, yet they hated black people.
Yeah.
The logic, I
No.
can't understand. And our town was so small, it didn't have a high school, so we had to go to the high school in the next town over, and it had a lot of it was a giant high school, and it catered to all the towns around it. And so of course there were black kids that went there. And so that was my first real, as a freshman in high school, interacting with black people. And I'm talking to these black people, and I'm like, you're no different than I am. Why same thing that you had? Like, why the fuck should I hate you?
Yeah.
I've seen nothing to suggest that I should hate you.
Yeah. No, I mean,
because your skin's darker than mine. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
It's to this day. It's like, you know, everybody hates gay people now, and it's like, why? Who cares? I don't care. I mean, give a shit.
People are freaking out when Rob Halford, I mean, he came out as a gay. Oh man, I'm throwing away all my Judas Priest records. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'll take him. Jesus, any day, man.
I'll take him. Fuck yeah.
He's still the fucking metal god.
Yeah, I mean,
and I mean, going back, I mean, to this movie, to talk about this movie once again, John Lee Hooker, Cab Calloway, Aretha Franklin, James Brown. Does it get any better than that? That's the foundation of fucking everything I listen to. I shit you not.
Yeah.
Everybody in a band that I grew up with, listen to, has to some extent roots from that kind of music. You can't play in a metal band or a hard rock band without having attachments to soul, blues, jazz, gospel, and whatnot. And everything is in this freaking movie right here.
You got it all. You got it all.
Educate yourselves. Haven't you heard this album? Haven't you watched this movie? Go right now. I shit you not.
You'll enjoy it. I fucking hate musicals, and this is one of my favorite movies. Yeah. I love it so much that when my first son was born, we played the movie for him in the hospital. That's how good this is. Right? He didn't have a clue what was going on, but it was the first movie that he saw was the frickin' Blues Brothers.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's Willie. There.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see.
See.
Jesus
Great movie.
Christ.
Last song. The last and final song.
Oh, yeah.
Jailhouse Rock.
Oh, yeah. What a great version that is.
It's the only version.
It is, actually.
It's the only version. All the other versions suck. Sorry, Elvis. But all the other versions suck. This is the only version that anyone should ever listen to.
Oh, man. It's so joyful. It's so beautiful, and to listen to it. I mean, it goes on forever and ever and ever. It never stops, and you can see them having such a good time recording that scene and that song, it's another epic song. Another one. Jesus.
They just kept giving.
Oh yeah.
This is the movie and the soundtrack that just, you know, I think this is really like the only soundtrack that's really start to finish is any good. I don't. Do you own any other soundtracks?
No, Halloween, but it's mostly because John Carpenter plays himself. So
Yeah.
I really enjoy. I'm
Yeah.
a big
The Halloween music
Yeah,
and is
yeah,
great.
it is.
Oh,
But
you know, we have to do like the Jaws and Halloween. We have to do like a special horror show with and the music that's really
oh,
not
yeah.
metal or traditional music, just scores. Do
Oh,
like a
yeah.
scores episode.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
and I got a couple of Star Wars, so but that's it. Yeah,
Yes,
but
Star
it's
Wars.
nothing that I'll listen to on a regular basis. But this one,
this one is just
it's with me.
It's different. Favorite song? If you can only pick one song to listen to forever and ever.
I would say She Caught the Katie.
She Caught the Katie. Okay.
Because it knocked me on my ass right after Boom Boom. I mean, there was something about it's the opening of the movie, if you will, when it gets you going, and it's right there, and they're driving with that freaking awesome car. and it's
the old Mount Prospect police car.
Oh yes, yeah,
which is a real city. For those that don't know, it's another town right in the suburb of Chicago, so it is a real town.
Yeah. Do you know there is an Instagram account with the car? The blue.
They had like 33 of them, I believe they bought.
Okay.
Of those cars.
Let me see what's it called. The Bluesmobile, I think it's called.
The Bluesmobile.
Yeah, Chicago Bluesmobile. The Chicago Bluesmobile. The world famous Chicago Bluesmobile in the genuine, no imitation, official Chicago Bluesmobile.
Apparently, there's somebody selling the decals that you can turn your car into the old.
Oh my God!
Police car Bluesmobile. Yeah.
You should check out this Instagram account, the Chicago Bluesmobile. Chicago Bluesmobile. I don't know if you can see it. No.
Yeah, it's a little overlit, but yeah. Okay, Chicago Bluesmobile.
Yeah.
Go check it out, people.
Cool.
If you're on Instagram.
Yes.
I rarely get on social media these days, but there we go. All right, She Caught the Katie. All right.
Yeah.
That one for the end of time.
Yes.
For you.
And how about you? What's your favorite?
It's got to be Minnie the Moocher.
Oh my God, that's so great.
It's got to be Minnie the Moocher, and especially this version. I like this version of it the best. It's hard to find on some of the streaming networks too, because it's a lot of the ones from the 20s and 30s. But this one is really hard to find. You have to really get it on the soundtrack. But this one is just I love it. Minnie the Moocher.
But there's not a bad song on there. I mean, She Caught the Katie, Pure Gun Theme, Give Me Some Loving, Shake Your Tail Feather, Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, The Old Landmark, Think, Theme from Rawhide, Minnie the Moocher, Sweet Home Chicago, and Jailhouse Rock. I mean, it could be like 10 more songs. a triple album with liner notes.
Yeah, there you go.
More pictures.
There you go. Jesus. Well, and let's not forget the 3 that didn't make the soundtrack. I mean, Boom, 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 Stand By Your Man, I Can't Turn You Loose. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Yeah, phenomenal. Go listen to it. Go have a good time. Watch the movie. Yeah.
And if you want to listen to them doing it live, go to these albums. It's called Briefcase Full of Blues, and the other one's called Made in America. Looks like this. Great songs. Great performance.
Check it out.
This one is actually produced by Paul Schaefer. You know him? Paul Schaefer used to be in the David Letterman band. He's a great musician. He's done so much stuff.
Yes.
So Are we
That's
done?
it. That's
That's
it, man.
it,
That's
man.
all we got.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So this is the Blues Brothers episode. Little surprise here, deviating. That's not a word.
No,
Deviating. That's what I meant to
deviating.
say.
Yeah.
Deviating. Wow, I can speak. Maybe it's
Yes.
time we just said until next time. Later.
Later.